Okay, so I'm gonna try to work on the background a little bit more because after I finally printed off the picture, I just see things that I don't like. Again, I'm not used to this medium. It is totally out of my wheelhouse to work in oils. I teach watercolors, I paint in a lot of acrylics. Oh yeah, so this has been nerve-wracking. Plus, this isn't exactly ideal for me to record on. I don't know how I feel about my little corner oil painting station. I didn't really want to take over the acrylic area. I work on the big paintings there, and then my desktop, well, I don't know, normally you paint oils upright, so this lets me have all my stuff surrounding me. I'm still trying to work it out. It's only been one day of working in this tight squeeze, and my studio is only 13 by 13, so I don't have a lot of room. I have a lot of stuff and not a lot of room, like little tiny walkways. So yeah, so this is nerve-wracking for me, but I found that I did really well the other day when I came on and did the live stream working on it. So even though there's lots of changes I want to make, I feel really excited at the realization that excuse me, my throat is wicked dry from all of the dry air that we have to pump into our house to survive. If you are from the Northeast of the United States, then you're gonna know that it's been brutally freaking cold outside. It's been 20 degrees colder than Anchorage for days and days. Like even the lows, their low is our high, and it's been that way for a while. It's been the most brutal winter I can remember, with the amount of snow and the bitterness of it. It's been a lethal combination. But anyways, I worked into this not yesterday, but the day before, and it's still tacky. So I'm gonna see if I can glaze over some of these purpley hues that I really didn't honestly see when I was looking at the reference photo from my phone. It looks so different once I printed it, and I'm blind. And so when I'm looking at my phone, I'm like taking off my glasses and I'm looking at a digital image, which isn't as clear. So I printed it, and I'm really glad I did, because I see so much more color in it now that I did that. So it's really only my, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4th day trying to work on this. And I'm so new to oils, like it's not my area of expertise. I teach watercolors and I paint in a lot of acrylics. Oils aren't really my forte, but for my 50th birthday, which is coming up on Monday, so if you want to send me a present, you're welcome to. If you subscribe, that would be the best present ever. So yeah, it's going to be my 50th birthday, and I thought it would be really fun to learn a new medium this year for my birthday. I've been an artist for over 30 years. It's like 32 or 3 or 4, I don't know. I'm too old to remember. I started way young. So I'm gonna talk and paint, because if I just talk, then that's not nearly as interesting as talking and painting. So I'm gonna pick up some of these purpley hues that I didn't see because I didn't have it printed off, which I feel a little bit sad about, but I am gonna pick them up, and I'm supposed to pay attention to like warms and cools and all that right now, but I kind of already flubbed this painting really badly, and I'm gonna just give myself some grace and mercy and say, okay, that happened, that's a thing, you flubbed it. Well, pick up where you left off and keep going with it. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna add in some of these like purpley values, and it will make more sense because he's got a lot of purple in him too. But I just wanna add them to the background first with my big fat bristle brush, so that I can get more of that in here, because once I printed it, I was so disappointed to see like how far off from the colors I was. I use my phone a lot for oh, this got pretty dried up. That's how dry it is. That's why my throat is all foobarred, because it's so dry. It's really hard to keep the air quality humid enough when we have to run the heaters. And my studio gets really chilly, so I have to like run space heaters, unfortunately. I just want a little bit. Now that's not totally dry, but I'm gonna mix some white into that anyway, so I'm not really worried about the fact that it looks kind of like scratchy. I don't exactly remember even what some of these paints are. I just know I'm going for a cooler cool in the background so that it can like recede essentially. And I just want to like get some on the palette. And I had squirted a whole bunch of test colors because I have this huge tool chest full of oil paints that were donated to me. And some of them aren't even in manufacture anymore, but the oil paint is still there. And so and some of them, the lids were like really stuck on there. So in the middle of the live stream, I'm like unable to open paint tubes. It was really kind of embarrassing. So I decided, now I'm going to use warmer colors in the front here. So I decided that what I would do is I would just take a day off from doing lives and like work through all the paint tubes and like actually wrench them open. And I did that yesterday, and I did record it. I just haven't posted it yet because I was not feeling that great. And I ended up posting some other content instead, which is me cooking. So that sounds kind of crazy that I would do that, but that is what I did. Not gonna lie. All right, so I want to get cooler with my purples as I go back so they can change the value a little bit. So what I want to do, oh, I even like that looking from here. So what I want to do now is I want to go in with like my big fat brush here, and these are the ones I was using the other day. This is kind of where I stick my wet brushes, and then I have like this little tray here that I stick the ones that I like right now to use in this one, and then I'll just reach over and grab them. And I'm hoping I remembered everything. I've got my linseed to solvent medium in my little tray. I've got a snack. Look at that. Doesn't that look good? And some water. And I've got, hi there. Oh, you should change my job. Oh, I'm sorry that you think that. No problem. No wonder. I'm learning, you know? So I don't disagree with you saying I'm not good at this. You are not wrong. That's why I'm practicing. So I appreciate your comments because you leaving them is helpful to me. It makes my day. Even if you leave bad ones, I'm kind of okay with it. You know what I mean? You can't really hurt my feelings because I've been an artist for a really long time. So I know that like a part of being an artist is not being good at stuff. So I was saying in my Just Jenny Lee the other day, like, you don't have to be a good plumber to be hired to be a plumber. You can like just kind of tell people you're good, and if you look like believable, then people will hire you, and then you might suck. I mean, that happens all the time with contracting, but artists have to kind of wear their heart on their sleeve and like show the world their vulnerability. And I could wait and just show you like the finished painting. I could like not go live, but for the most part I actually have a lot of fun going live when I'm painting. So negative comments don't really bother me. Thank God I actually have an art degree, and I learned how to take like a lot of brutal comments from people that were professors, and it was for a grade. So like, you know, you learn to develop a thick skin about that kind of stuff. It's really like kind of silly to let it upset you, because anything in your life, you can take it as, you know, just a criticism and be a baby about it, or you can be like, all right, noted, and use it to your benefit. Honestly, I've had some really harsh critiques. You literally can't criticize me into hurt feelings when it comes to my artwork. It just doesn't happen. It just honestly makes me better. So like it's all good. I should quit my job. I don't have a job. That's what I did actually. So that's cute though. Okay. My poor hubby, he'll be so annoyed at that kind of comment when he watches those. I may be small, but he's not, so I don't know. I'm 5 feet tall, but he is 6'4" and can like deadlift hundreds of pounds, so I never even feel like hurt feelings when people say stuff. If it really did hurt my feelings, I would just be like, meet my husband. He really likes me a lot. All right. That's probably too purpley. I don't know. What I maybe want is like a scrubber brush. Like I said, I'm learning. I don't know. I have noticed that oh, there we go. I have noticed that the softer bristle brushes will kind of like blend, but they won't actually like get the paint scrubbed into the weave of the canvas. So that's really interesting to me. I'm so different than acrylics, the way I apply them anyways. It's really interesting. Interesting. All right, so if you really want to push the paint around, it seems like it takes a little bit more of a stiffer bristle brush. So that's noted. Let's try it down here too. And really I should make sure I'm using warmer tones in the foreground. So I'm just gonna pick up a little bit of this warm gray in my like white. All right, let's see. Really, I just want to like grab the kind of directional flow of the water. Like even that is like good. It doesn't have to be like super specific. It can just have like a suggested effect. I'm just not good at the suggested effect outside of the world of watercolors, because that's like what I'm good at. I'm not good at this, but I'm okay with that. Whoops. See, I just messed that up. But now if I use this brush, it's gonna mess it up. That's why you have so many brushes going. That's the other thing that's confusing. Once I pick up an acrylic brush, I'm good to go. And so the brush no longer fits in the space. But like with oil paints, that brush is like contaminated now, which is so funny to me. Yeah, my friend Pat is the master oil painter. And honestly, I've taught her watercolors, but she's so good at oils. And it was just something I wanted to try this year. I don't know. It's probably not worth it, and I told her I'm gonna get frustrated and I'm gonna quit. I just know it. I'm just gonna be like, nope, watercolors make sense to me, but because they do. Oh, okay, we're starting to look watery, finally. Wow! Man, this is hard. You oil painters out there amaze me. Everyone's like, oh, it's so cool that you do watercolors, they're so hard. And I'm like, no, they're not for me. They make sense to me in a way that this doesn't make sense to me. All right, I'm feeling a little bit better about this now, because when I got done the other day, I was like, oh no, I ruined it. No, I didn't ruin it. I just didn't have the right colors out. And I'm not used to having to like mix on the canvas. Watercolors and acrylics both, I for the most part pre-mix in advance or in the palette. Whoops, my dress is showing my leg. And acrylic paints I mix up in a big pot. So, all right, now there's like, oh wow, I did kind of mess this up really bad. I don't approve. It's like supposed to come down into here. All right, I'll go in with the opaque paint, I guess, after, because right now it's kind of stressful. It's also stressful to think about the warm, cool thing. The thing I don't like about that is your brushes are like touching each other and getting contaminated, and this is supposed to come out more like that. All right, so I feel like I need to go and work back in with the darks and fix that a little bit. I don't like it. All right, so let me grab a different brush entirely, working with the darks. I have a bunch of new ones because, like I said, I bought all new materials to do this so I could learn. So I've got like this natural filbert. I've got this synthetic filbert. I've got fluffy mops. And then I've got even like these here. Whoa, flats. So they're all new. Because this is really kind of my first oil painting. I did a couple like 25 years ago, and I didn't even know what I was doing really. So I didn't use the proper solvents. I didn't use the proper layering technique. Like I don't know. Anyways. So I got a whole bunch of new ones here, And I have no idea what is going to be the best thing to apply this with. I feel guilty for using this beautiful dark paint on this light brand new brush. I almost want to like use this crappy one. All right, I'm scared, not gonna lie. This is scary. All right, so the cool colors come forward and the warm colors. All right, so cool is more teal in the back. So I'm gonna like pick up some of this Prussian-y blue. I tested all my paints yesterday, so I have some transparents, which normally you put as your underglaze. So I'm gonna pop this down because it's supposed to be kind of like that. I messed it up. This is supposed to come down. I don't have to be perfect, but it's making the water look weird and it's bugging me. So I don't blame you for saying I should get a different job. You're not wrong. And a little bit of this green in it, I think. Maybe a tiny touch of this, like, there we go. A little bit of the red. Unfortunately, you can't see this palette, and it's mostly dry. It was on a piece of glass, and I just put out a very teensy bit of paint to test all my colors, and that's kind of what I came up with. So, and this is probably supposed to be darker even than this. I don't know. Yeah, I kind of hate that, but oh, the more I mess with the painting, the more I end up hating it, so that's not cool. It's so weird to me to work with oils. But I chose to like come on a live stream and force myself to do it because I'll just walk away from it and not work on it. I just will. It's just been sitting here forever. And I just go on to the next acrylic because it's easy to do. This is supposed to like kind of come out like that. Does that look right? Sorta. Sort of. That looks okay. Except for it's a little bit like that. And then like that. Alrighty. The transparents are definitely really light, so that's interesting. And it almost makes me want to grab, I don't think I'll be able to open the drawers. The weird thing about this setup is I can't open up my paint drawers when I'm sitting here at this easel. So I'm actually going to pull up some of these dark opaques now and kind of make a medium value of the warm to cool purpley blue color here and try to give this a little bit more depth. Hoping. That's what I'm hoping. Whoops, dropped a brush. What else is new? I'm messy back in the studio. All right, interesting. I'm like seeing stuff on the screen that I can't really see here, so that's kind of neat. That's the other like cool thing about recording what I'm doing is I can see stuff on the screen that I don't see here, which I really appreciate. Oh, interesting. Okay, that looks neat. I like it. It's so interesting to me how very suggestive you gotta be with oils. Let me grab this guy. All right, now this up here, because I messed up with this reference photo, it should be like folded actually, which I didn't do, is mostly like brighter than I've got it. So I wanna grab like my cool white. Probably need a little bit more white. I do. And maybe a tiny bit of solvent here. There we go. And just like get this on in here, and then I'm going to use the other brush because apparently that makes a difference. And really even this is not supposed to be this, like, bright. It's kind of all is like somehow backlit, which means I need to push it back with the color choice. That's going to be why it's so important to make this work. I want to grab, I wonder if this will do the job. I'm scared to try it. I really am. So I think I'm just going to use this guy. Yeah, these definitely look better in the background. And it's kind of like this like flow of the lines that make the water look ripply, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying. I'm kind of making it up as I go, just like my cooking. That's what I do in the kitchen too. I don't know. And this is supposed to come down into here. All right, so grabbing my brush. And this is supposed to come down to about here. Okay. And this is receded. So I'm gonna grab my green, blue, purpley color, which is mostly blue. And just a touch of that. Probably used too much yesterday, which is why my stuff dried up quicker than I would have liked. More quicklier. I think that's more quickly. Sorry. All right, let's see if this will, ooh, look at that. I've got like a lot of warm colors back here, so I think if I cool them down some, what am I doing here? This is like here, and then come down into here. To about there. And it like kind of like comes down, just makes like, I'm gonna actually try to get like some amount of paint on the canvas here. And then this kind of like comes up like that. All right, no pressure here. No pressure, don't ruin it. That's how I feel right now. I feel like I did ruin it by picking it up again, unfortunately. I feel annoyed at myself. But I really wanted to like take this back, you know? All right, I've got my dark bristle blender here. Whoops, I just turned off my live stream here. Hi, your drawings are amazing. Somebody said that I suck and I should find a new job. And for a split second, I thought, well, I didn't. I was like, okay, you're probably not wrong, but I am on disability for panic attacks, so I don't have the ability to go do that. And being on the live stream is like really therapeutic for me because it helps me to focus on painting and not on the anxiety, because I might be feeling it, which I would, especially if you're gonna like be it's super insulting, right? So that might be really distracting, but in reality it like helps me to deal with my own bad feelings. So like what people don't realize is if they're insulting me, they're kind of doing me a favor because it helps me to deal with bad feelings like during in real time. So like almost the best thing you could do is insult me, because then you just give me practice for when I'm feeling really like stressed out and triggered. So yeah, you just don't know this, but you're being therapeutic for me by being here while I'm struggling. All right, and I am struggling, but that's okay. So back to my little blender that I was using back here. Because the paint is like leaving the weave of the canvas behind, which is kind of triggering me a little bit. And this is supposed to be a little brighter, probably. I don't know. This is probably too green, but whatever. I'm not gonna beat myself up over it. I don't know. Let me just step back from that for a second and see if I like it. I mean, not legitimately, but I'm gonna lean back, we're gonna say. That's gonna be how I step back, is I'm gonna lean back and look into the iPad and see what I think, which probably I think it sucks. Like, if you think it sucks, I do too. Same, dude. I think it sucks too. Thank you. I'm glad somebody agrees, because my husband is so freaking biased. And I'll be like, it's beautiful. And I'm like, you say that about every damn thing I do. And he's like, but it is. Yesterday I asked him legit. I'm like, give me legit feedback on a video I had done. And he's like, but honestly, I can't think of anything different. It's perfect. I'm like, you're useless. Oh man. No, I love him. I really do. Do I like that? Is that enough? No. More. All right, let's see about that. Oh, that's got way too much paint on it for it to be realistic. Oh, that green is interesting in there. See if I can keep some of like painterly look of the paint. How does that look? Oh, that's interesting. That's getting watery, folks. That is getting watery. Let's add a little bit more dark. Oh my gosh, I might be feeling a moment of victory here. That's dangerous. I don't want to tempt fate. Well, I don't really believe in fate, but all right. Well, maybe I do. That's an interesting topic for maybe a different day. It's a little serious for right now, you know? All right, let's try to get this to be like darker. I'm using the iPad. It's so helpful. So even if I wasn't live streaming, I would probably want to use the iPad to like look at my piece, and instead of looking at that as the reference photo, which is what I have been doing like an idiot, I would print off the reference photo and then look in the iPad for a little bit of feedback. Interesting. Look at that. Oh man, I hate it when you lose a bristle in this stupid thing though. Let's see if I have a brush that will like pop it off there. There we go. A little tiny brush. That's a watercolor trick, but I'm sure it works for everybody. Okay. Maybe. Now what I'm noticing also, let me grab these. I've got a pile of messy brushes in my lap, and it's probably not a good plan. I'm realizing now I'm gonna need like a light and a cool like container, because if you have to keep them separate, it almost is kind of impossible to do if you have one container. So that's notes for my future self. I want a little bit of like lightness around here, because it's got like a little, the water's got like a little ridge up to these here, and I don't want to miss out on that little edge. And it like, it's interesting. This is like, this forces you to be super observational and selective in your choices. It takes like self-control. I'm amazed since I started doing this at the control of oil painters. They're like, this is hard. I feel like watercolors are so much easier. I've got to start posting some of my pictures of the watercolors that I do and that I teach, and so that way I won't just look like a really bad artist to you, because if you're looking at this, I don't blame you for thinking that. I'm just trying to learn a new medium for my birthday, and it's going to take months. It's my 50th though, so what better way to celebrate it, you know? I tried tackling this whole thing last year, and then my best friend unexpectedly was no longer with us anymore, and it like kind of took the life out of me really badly. want that to be a little darker. So, yeah. Love you, Anne. Miss you so, so, so much. Okay. How am I feeling about that? Oh, okay. Getting somewhere. Not sure I love this, though. I almost want it to be like a little more cleaned up. Oh no. It's weird when you're looking at it, because I've noticed one thing, like whenever I go to a museum and I see like a master's painting that I've looked at in a textbook for years and years, and then you see it in person, you're like, huh, it doesn't look exactly the way I pictured. Well, that's because an oil painting up close looks way different than one that's far away or in a book. And you almost see the ugliness of it, and only that. It's only ugly up close. At least that's what I think. All right, I guess. Maybe like a little bit of depth over here, just a little bit. I kind of lost it when I filled in that whiter area because it was too bright. But a little bit here, I think, needs to be. All right. Wow, this is like so stressful. If you're watching, I appreciate you because you suck at heckling. I'm not heckling though, I'm painting. And you already said I suck at painting, so I get it. I suck to you, that's okay. I'm not gonna say what my opinion is of you. Actually, I don't have one. I just think you're a sad human being, and that's okay. When you have enough love in your life, you don't tend to like berate people, you know what I mean? I don't know if you've ever had that experience, but for me, if you have love in your life, you don't actually feel the need to be insulting. So I just see people who are perpetually insulting as people who lack love, which is fine. If you continue to do so, I'll just have to block you, and that's fine too. Like, really, I don't need the attention as much as you think I do. It's all good. Oh, thank you, hubby. There's a person on here who's being not so kind. So, I really appreciate you being here. I told them that my husband is 6'4" and I'm 5 feet tall, and that I actually don't feel nervous by people causing me to trying to shake me on my game, because my husband is so big and he'll find you and it won't be pleasant for you. So I'm not really worried about that. I'll have to be like telling him, hey, it doesn't matter. Don't you stress about it. It's all good, because that person is clearly lacking love in their life. And that's what it looks like to lack love in your life. You literally have nothing better to do than to make people feel bad. And it's okay. We will pray for you, and Jesus loves you. Just saying. Let's add that to our prayer list for prayer room, okay? What's the person's name? Cat Wild. Okay, we'll keep you up and lift you in prayer, okay? You're on our list. I mean, we can even go so far as to lift you in prayer right now if you want, you know? I can do that if you want. I'll pray right online if you want. Sounds like you could use some prayers today. Sounds like you're having a rough day. So I just pray that your day goes better, and I pray that you find your place that works well for you, where you can be a productive, wonderful member of society without feeling the need to make other people feel small for some kind of personal gain, which I don't really know what that is. I'm not really sure what the gain is, except for that people will just pity you for your smallness. Or pray for you. You know, it's one or the other. We tend to be the praying type. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, if you're gonna come heckle me on my page, I'm just gonna pray for you. And then you're gonna wonder who I am and why you're here. Gonna come for the art and stay for the Jesus. That works for me. All right, I'm getting happier with this background. Much happier. Oh, well, looks like we got some people a little perturbed. So anyways, we're gonna get back into the artwork because that's really what's important here. I think we're starting to get like a watery effect though. And that's pretty freaking exciting. It doesn't look the way I thought it would look though, because I'm able to see it on the screen in a way that I can't see it on here. So that's really interesting to me, of like what a useful tool it is. This is supposed to come down to here. What a useful tool it is to be painting like in the screen there. Not only that, but I think it's also beneficial that the image is backwards, because I was just watching my class yesterday and what she was saying was that if you do your image upside down, she was saying specifically upside down, but if you paint your image upside down, you're painting with like the other side of your brain that will like not assign certain values to it or whatever. It can look at it almost like, in other words, like in an unbiased way. And I see that sort of happening. I can see it differently for having, whoops, we're just trying to get this shape down that I clearly didn't get correct in the underpainting, which is annoying, but we're gonna work on that right now. I can say this about my husband. Even though he's frustrating to me at times and doesn't always support my art in the way that I would like, always, he is my #1 fan, and I'm so excited at the thought of bringing him on board into the studio. It's kind of been a dream come true of mine. I talk about like wanting 500 subscribers for February for my 50th birthday, but really it's always been a dream of mine that my husband would be an artist too, and it's a secret dream, and it almost felt like we were kind of there when we were refinishing together. But in truth, it's not quite the same as like fine art, and I don't want to be like snooty, like, oh, we don't do fine art together. It's more like, it's just the idea of like having a creative outlet with somebody and not just by myself. I miss the days of like being in art school and working with other artists and having that like collaborative kind of thing going on, you know? So there's something really cool, in my opinion, of working in the studio with another creative. It's very dynamic. That's why I love having my friend Pat around, because it's just a dynamic experience. It makes you like a better artist, you know? And I think that that's like, you can't ask for anything better than that, is the synergy really of creative individuals coming together to work together. And even though they may not be working on the same piece, their collective energy is really synergistic in the studio and just results, in my opinion, in like really like much better art. All right, we're coming up this way. I really am starting to feel a lot more comfortable with this piece. Whew. That's, oh, there we go. I feel like we're finally getting some delineation. This is really hard. I have so much mad respect for oil painters at this point in my life. So much. You need to get a job. Thank you, hubby, for defending me. You are the best. Maybe what I need to do is get make up the profile picture, the two of us in front of a painting, and we'll put me like where I stand and you're like way up here, and people will see this big, huge, and they'll be like, maybe I'll think twice before heckling them. But like, I know I'm going live stream, and I have that, like, that can happen. So people are strange, you know. I'm not a great singer either. Go ahead, tell me that as well. All right, I kind of want to add like a little bit of purple to this back here. So let me grab my Darky Dark and probably mix it up with a little bit of that blue green. I just want it to be like a little more purpley. I wish I had seen that when I first printed off the page, but I didn't. And so like having all these greens and purples and blues, all these rich jewel tones, I think will add some depth to the piece. I don't want it to be flat. Flat Stanley, as she calls it in the course. You don't want flat Stanley. No, I don't want flat Stanley. That sounds bad. All right. No, I want depth for sure. I want the duck to look like he's, you know, legitimately, that's maybe a little too purple. This blue isn't as dark blue as I would like. It's my warm opaque blue. Now, I'm gonna look at my warm opaque cobalt. Cobalt is the option for that. Okay, good to know. I might actually pick up, oh, I don't think I have, oh, I do. There's a little bit right there. I'm gonna just add a little bit of this to that. It is a transparent, but I think it's gonna darken up the color a little. And that's kind of what I'm going for. Especially like up here, I want it to be dark up there. This brush is crappy. I should get a better one. All right. This too. Not quite dark enough still. It's really dark. Yeah, I don't want to lose those pretty jewel tones underneath. That's the stress of me. And this is supposed to kind of come out like that. All right, I want to blend that a little. Like just this part. I don't know. It looks like it has a hard edge in the photo, but then like putting a hard edge on there just looks weird. I don't know why I don't like it. I don't though. I don't know. It's not working for me. Let's try the water or the white like accent. See if that helped up there. It might help here. I don't know. My brain is like, no. Yeah. And then along that, it would be like, where would it be? This is so confusing to me. To work front to back and back to front and all that. I don't like it. I don't like it. Okay. Yeah, that doesn't, in person that looks bad. Even though on here it kind of makes sense, it looks bad in person. And it has to look good in person and on the canvas, so yeah, I don't know. It can't look bad in person, you know? And it kind of does, so I don't know how I feel about that. Ugh, gross. Gross, gross, gross. I know I'm my own worst critic, but this actually, okay, wait a minute. This is supposed to be like down like this and then come up like that. And then this is supposed to be like way down here. What am I doing in this thing? All right, so we're gonna move into the more warmer blue greens and try to, I think this is supposed to be like this, really. I think I just didn't know what to do, which is the story of my life, and I like just thought, oh, I'll just carry it around. It doesn't look right. It doesn't. It's not working. It's not working. You're watching me problem solve in real time here, which is I feel like all art is just a bunch of problem solving that mostly I suck at, and I do. I don't disagree. You're not wrong. I didn't say I was good at this. I just said I wanted to do it. Like, since when does being good at something be the requirement to trying it, you know? I'm not great at mini golf, but we still go. I think my husband lets me win most of the time. Really. I think he just like writes down the wrong score. I get 6 and he gives me 4. He gets 2 and he puts down 3, you know. I just feel sorry for me. There's some games that we play that he's like legitimately trying to let me win the game. He's like, oh, here, it looks like you could use this. And I'm like, okay. So, you know, I already have somebody in my life that is trying like literal hell to get me to win at life. So I don't need anybody else because it's already more than enough. This isn't bad right here, man. There's something about this that's starting to feel right to me. So there's like a thing like here kind of, and oh, I see what's happening with this. It's kind of like a weird depression of color right there that I couldn't see because I wasn't really looking at a good reference photo. I just want to put a little bit of white down and a little bit of this down so that I can get a mixture going. That is the right color. And yeah, I'm probably putting way too much freaking paint on the canvas. I don't care. Go ahead. Yell at me. Meh. Like I'm just guessing right now. I'm not an oil painter, or even I'm not an oil teacher. I'm not an oil painter. I'm a watercolor teacher, which apparently would be better to live stream because I would know what I was doing. But I've been watching a lot of YouTubers lately, and what appeals to me about some of them is like they don't know what they're doing and they put that out there, and I think it's the most interesting thing. I'm like, all right. I don't have to be perfectly accomplished to do this. Perfect. Because I ain't never going to be there. Ain't never going to be perfect. Okay, I'm starting to see the light. I'm blinded by the light. All right, so this needs to like, also this doesn't really recede. I'm like seeing, it's like really similarly colored and it almost looks darker down here, but on this canvas doing that kind of makes it like not good. So I almost want to like tone that down some with like a mixture of this purpley white blue color, maybe a little bit. It's probably not quite dark enough even. There we go. Wow, I can see why oil painters also have like really messy canvas or palettes. I always thought like, man, your palette looks like hell. Well, I can kind of see why. It's messy. So this kind of comes down like this. Sort of. Whoops, I kind of got into the other one there. That wasn't really the goal. And then, wow, out of all of these, woo! I'm learning you can't really use these for this kind of painting, which kind of stinks. I should probably open up my, oh, it's right here, my jar of sauce. I keep forgetting to eat my snacks. I do have some. All right, I think what I want to do, oh, this one. I really love these white goat brushes I'm finding are my favorite for this medium. I get like favorite types of brushes and then I don't want to use anything else. And this white goat bristle is like really awesome, very ideal. And that might be not the right color. It's not like purpley enough, I feel like, already. It did recede some, but not like in a good way. Okay. As I say in French, pas de problem. All right. We'll just kind of give that a little bit of something, something right there. Yeah, I don't like that gray that I put on there. That makes me unhappy. This is supposed to be whitish, and I just keep going back and forth between lightening it and darkening it and lightening it and darkening it, and probably I just need to move on to the next. Oh man, I do not approve of that. Oh, that makes me sad. That didn't work for me at all. This is just a constant back and forth. Makes me, this is hard. If you're an oil painter and you've got some tips for me, I'd love to hear them, because this is hard, man. I don't know how you folks do it. How do you do it? I feel like I'm cheating when I paint with watercolors. I really do. So this is supposed to be like something that comes out like this, which I can't seem to make it happen. This is supposed to be light, which I can't seem to make that happen either. That's all right. I just came on here to complain. Really, that was it. So if you're listening to me complain, I appreciate you. This needs to be like a middle white, neutral, warm and cool at the same time. I'm gonna give this a little bit of a white edge because I think it will benefit from it. Sort of, yeah. Okay, maybe. Maybe this was actually supposed to kind of come up here, but it didn't, but that's okay. We can just kind of move it a little bit if I want. Try that again. Give it a little bit more of that neutral white, I guess. I mixed up. Yeah, there we go. I do like these real bright highlights down here. I almost want to like, oops, gotta use the warm white for that. That's the thing I hate about this, is like switching back and forth. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. You inspire me. That's why I'm here, because it is inspiring to me to get online and work out the bugs of my inadequacies as an oil artist, because I'm not. I'm a watercolor artist, and I just am trying to learn this as a happy birthday to me present. So there we go. I don't know if I love it, but it's so funny with these little itty bitty directional lines. They mean so much when you're looking at the canvas. When you're looking at the screen, you can't tell the little nuances that I'm seeing that are making me annoyed. But I like these little lines though, because they do look watery. And I wanna get more of that white on there, but this brush is too hairy. I need like, oh, I don't know if that's one will hold enough paint, but I want to try it. All right, let's give this a whirl. I'm gonna grab my warm white, with the big hair poking out the end. Of course, the first thing a brand new brush is gonna do is start losing fibers on you, because, you know, way to prove your value, brush, right out of the starting gate. We're gonna grab some really white whites here, because I think that will help this push into the foreground some. Not bad. This kind of actually fans out in two directions. I'm gonna grab my fatty here. See if I can clean that up some. I kind of messed that up. I'm gonna set that one aside. Keep these two going. 3, sorry. Technically 4. Are we getting ripples? Are we getting that? Sorta. This comes in and it's really dark and it's supposed to be really bright, right? Coming into this like shadow. Man, I will never not print off my reference again because it has been eye-opening to see what a difference it looks when it's printed out on a piece of paper. Like huge. This is supposed to be brighter. I'm seeing that now. And there's like a little one here. Oh, look at that. Isn't that kind of cool looking? We're starting to get some shape, right? That's supposed to go out like that, sort of. Let me clean that up. Alrighty. Wow, my hands get full of brush, as you can see. This spot here, I'm still not super thrilled with, but I'll have to give it up at some point, probably. I am gonna try to get it lightened up some right there, because I think it will help. The illusion I'm going for. And it would be awesome if I could finish this portion of the painting today, at least, so that I could get into doing the opaques on the mallard, because right now it's all transparent and I'm just trying to get the color on the background. Let's see, what's bugging me is this right here. So let me grab my background. Yeah, I need like 2 jars I'm seeing. I need a background jar and a foreground jar. So let me take these little guys and put them here. And let me take my smoked paprika jar and put that here. And then I'm probably wiping paint on my face. And I should have done this like right from the get-go, but I didn't do it. So I'm gonna try to separate out my background and my foreground brushes. Maybe. I'm not even sure that I can, but alright. Okay, so as I was saying, this spot right here is kind of bugging me. And this is my background color. It needs to be darker. I feel strongly about that. And maybe a itty bitty bit greener, I don't know. Yeah. Oops, that went too far, but that's okay. Might work. Like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Pretty sure my husband just said that yesterday about my fish's tank, because we've literally never changed the water, and I'm always like, well, are we supposed to? You know, I get like panicky. And he's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This kind of comes out like this, actually. So I'm gonna do that. Part of this is like, this was cut off at the top, and I should have just like folded it, and I didn't. Let me set this down and do that, because it's actually, it continuously distracts me. I need to do this so that I actually can see what I'm looking at. That's probably loud and crunchy, sorry. Oh, and I didn't even get it straight. It's more like, well, that's not even accurate. It's more like this. There we go. perfect. That would have been good if I had done that too. Print it off and fold it to be accurate to what you've got in front of you, which would mean the bottom gets cut off too. And I would now do this really differently, but I gotta go with what I got. So this is what I got. So I am gonna fold this. That didn't occur to me. It didn't occur to me to print it, and it didn't occur to me to fold it. And if you think I'm stupid for that, you are correct. You are so correct, my friends. There we go. Look at him in all his glory. Won't it be glorious when I get the magentas on his body? I'm so close to being there. I am just kind of looking at that right there, trying to line these up, trying to keep my towel intact and my skirt. I usually wear a long skirt, but like yesterday I was so worried I would get paint on it. I wore a short one today, and now I'm like, I feel like I'm showing off leg, which I don't want to do. All right, so this needs to, where am I concerned with that? Yeah, this side right here. So what I want is I want this to come out more like that. So I need to grab some of this background blue, gray, blue, green, purple color that I made and kind of like have it come out like that, because this too is supposed to come out like that. So like, because having this now changes that so much, which is a good thing, and it will help the water look more flowy. All right, that was maybe a little bit not correct, because it's actually only supposed to come out to here, and then like to there, and then like to there, basically. So something to that effect. Something to that effect. Still don't like that. There's something about it that bugs me. I don't know what it is. I'm gonna walk away from it for a little bit. I won't drive you crazy messing with it indefinitely, but it is making me nuts. Okay, so my background white was this one, and that's the cool white. So I just want to get some of that in here so that this gets like delineated some. And let's see, along there. You have to like wipe off your brush constantly just to keep the paint off of it, because it like wants to drag. You bring paint everywhere you go. That's another thing. Like acrylic paints dry so quickly that you don't really have to think about that ever. Now I want to blend that a little bit, because that's like a really hard edge, and it's kind of like triggering a little bit. I'm gonna maybe try this one. It's probably overworked, but whatever. Like, what do I care? It's just a learning exercise. This one too could be like a little bit more blended. And probably get like some more of those whitish highlights. And I want the cool white for that as well. It kind of comes down like this. Maybe just squeeze some in here. You inevitably end up picking up the other colors. And then your brush gets gummed up. So that's the mental shift I can't seem to get my brain into. This should be blended in a little bit better. All right, I'm actually feeling a little happier with this than I was when I first sat down, which is cool. Not perfect, but happier. So I think I'm getting there. I wish I was getting there more quickly. This whole painting approach is another thing that's really weird to me. The whole, like, paint the whole painting in one shot, or, you know, in a couple different layers. I work very systematically, and I don't tend to do that. I put a lot of planning into my painting, so this, like, off the cuff, you know, paint as you go type technique is so weird to me. All right, that's my background dark, so I want to come with my foreground dark and create a little bit more definition in some of these areas that I know it's lacking. See if I can do it. I don't know. And every time you do that, then you mess up what you painted with the light one. Wow. I know the instructors would say, you killed this by overworking it. And I would say, you're probably right. Like, I'm not good at this. There's too much off the cuff decision making here for my comfort level. All right, let me. Oh, okay, there's like a little bit of like super dark right here, and I kind of like, apparently I just decided to do away with his shadow down here, but I don't want to completely obscure that. So I want to add that in a little bit, and it's pretty dark, so I've got like this really dark purple going. So I'm gonna use that. And try to get it like in between those lines. Yeah, I just need to be more accurate, I guess, in my underpainting as well. It's better. I don't hate it. I don't love it, but I don't hate it either. Could be better, could be worse. I don't know. I kind of want to sit on it for a little bit and see. I might want to add in, let's see, that was foreground. Now I'm like forgetting which ones were foreground and background. Foreground, background. I want to add in a little bit more like of the lighter color here. So I'm going to grab some of this white and try to make it a little bit more defined. It's really challenging to do that. If you're an oil painter, I applaud you for your mad skills that I don't have and will never have, apparently. I don't know why as an artist I couldn't get a hobby that wasn't art, you know? So like my hobby is like trying new things and I just need to find a hobby that's not as stressful as making art, but I haven't figured that out yet. So my hobbies tend to be just making more art and being stressed out about the new art. For some reason. That's my hobby. And I don't know if I like that. I'm not sure if I like these fat brushes either. They get like, they sort of blend, but then they sort of obscure, so I don't know. Still learning the brushes. There's so many different ones. I kind of use like the same couple of kinds of brushes for watercolors and acrylics. So there's not all of this like decision-making pressure. And there's so much in oil painting. There's so much materials and there's so many decisions to make. I suck, but I'm just trying to figure it out. I want that even darker. I just can tell that it needs to be darker so it'll push back more. And there is sort of this like soft edge to this that, and then this is darker here. crap in my brush that I just can't explain. Yeah, there's just like little like, oh gosh. All right. I'm so used to paintings looking very smooth as well when I'm done with them, so I think that what's throwing me is the brushwork. I'm just not used to it. Everything dries flat and smooth with watercolor, and as well with the acrylics, the way I work them. So I think it's like throwing me for a loop to see the like all the brush strokes kind of freak me out, I'm not gonna lie. All right, I actually want to push this back some. It's come too far down and it shouldn't be this far down. This actually has like a little bit of light that comes in right here, which is almost hard to do. If I pop the white in there, I bet it will work. And that probably gives it like a reflection effect that I can't really tell by looking at it right here. That's what my guess is. But I'm gonna look on the iPad and see. And there's like another one here. And in fact, I can see this is still down further than it's supposed to be. Still, after all that. All right. Whoops, well, that's fine. It can have some green in it. That will just help it to like stay consistent throughout. And what about this? This is supposed to come out like this. Kind of. All right. Now I gotta go back and add more weight. That's so, you gotta go back and forth obsessively. It's like a tug of war. Okay. Let's see if I can make this somehow not look bad. Let's look in the iPad for good measure and see. All right, it is coming together. I still don't love it, but it is coming together. This concerns me that it's not bright enough. Oops, my towel. Like, I want it to push ahead of the foreground, but I want it to be a little brighter, like legitimately so. And maybe a little edge on that right there. All right, they all get mixed up, you know, even trying to keep them separate. Maybe over time I will get better at that, but it just seems like there's no rhyme or reason to try to keep your brushes in any particular order as much as I try. Even the palette is a train wreck. I think it's an ideal thing to keep everything in like a particular order, but the reality is, I don't know. I'm gonna add this hard white edge to this and hope that it gives us the appearance of water. Sort of. Might be too hard, I don't know. And kind of again up here where it kind of disappeared on me. I don't know. I don't know. I might have to walk away from this part for a little bit because it's really making me crazy. Plus, this is actually supposed to be a lot brighter too. Now that the last section that I really haven't put any of the bright whites on is this little, whoops, oh my goodness, I just got like cat orange in my brush. Brilliant. Let's try that again. Try that again, Sam. Is this area here, which I'm kind of like terrified to do, but it needs to happen, so it's the last spot that I've been willing to put paint down. But it's supposed to be pretty bright, so I'm gonna work on that. And there's really supposed to be, well, all right, kind of like comes down here. Actually, it kind of fills this whole area. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, all right. It looks okay from there. Interesting. Let's try a little bit of this coming down. Ooh, I don't like that at all. Ugh. Ugly. And there's like some of these like little light areas coming out right here too. I just haven't put them on there because they seem less important than the big areas that were causing me so much consternation. Okay, this is actually maybe, I was like scared to do this part right here, but I feel like it's actually kind of not bad the way it is. Okay, interesting. What does that look like there? That looks kind of okay. I think this is super nerve-wracking. Now these have to get like wicked bright white, so that's going to be the next order of business here. It's getting that really bright, like right along here. It's supposed to be pretty bright. Oh, of course, I knew I was going to do that. I knew it. I guess the paintbrush acts like an eraser, apparently. It's interesting, these little brushes don't really hold as much paint as I'm used to, either watercolor brushes and acrylic brushes. You didn't really load them up with paint. Whereas the oil paint just kind of like sits on top of the bristles and doesn't do a lot, and not super helpful. All right, so there's like that, and then like this coming down right here, and like this coming down right here. There's like other lines, so let me try to, they're not as dark as this, but I wanted to get them on there. Actually, don't mind the brushwork in that area. So, this is making me see something right here. Almost needs to be like actually a little bit darker, like along this edge right here. So I'm gonna grab some of this color. I feel like that is actually making more sense. It's this part here that is kind of annoying me, and that's really what it looks like in the reference photo. It's just like a big area of nothing, but it's like making my eyeball, my eyes don't like looking at it on the canvas though. They're like, no, that doesn't look right. Does it look right on there? It looks better. It looks better, but I feel like this could be brighter. And it shows like it's supposed to be, so I'm gonna grab this big fat one here, and I'm gonna try get some heavy white on the canvas. Alright, let's see how this goes. I'm using the white that I tinted with a little bit of the warm gray, like a little bit of it. All right. I'm seriously have a mad respect for every single oil painter out there. I will never scoff again. Not that I ever did, but you can't, because it is mad skill to paint in oil painting. Like, my friend Pat is so good at it, and I have like newfound respect for her. Newfound respect. I keep telling her she ought to teach, because like I could never teach oil paints. Like, look at me here, struggling, crying about it. Yeah. But it's like, seriously. I'm just used to, I pick mediums that feel easy to me. I'm not gonna lie, like that's what I'm doing, you know? I'm not picking the medium that I necessarily want to paint. I'm picking the one that feels the easiest, which is cheating, and you know it is. I'm totally cheating. This is supposed to be a little lighter too. And maybe even here a little bit. I don't want to ruin it though. I have this beautiful like little foot poking through, and it looks like it's underwater, and it's like the only part of the painting that I don't really hate, so I don't want to lose it. So that part is kind of important for me to save. All right, that looks like it isn't really gonna blend, so I need to think about that right there. Where's my blender? This one, the goat one. Goat hair blender. I must am not super thrilled with that. So it's interesting. They want you to paint with all this medium, but I tend to like do a lot better when I'm not using too much of it. And if they're like, oh, your painting is going to take forever to dry, that's fine. I don't care. I have nowhere to go. So I want to wipe some of this off, because I don't want to hide that. I like how it looks, and I'm going to save it. And I might even pop a little like orange on there. So I'm gonna grab a Q-tip and whoops, and erase a little bit here. All right, so this should have been like a greener green. I wasn't really looking at what I was painting. So now I'm gonna go in and like try to give it a little bit of a yellowy green on top of what's there. Probably not gonna look great, but I'm gonna try it. Oh, okay, there we go. See, it's got like a little bit of a reflective quality to it. Okay, not too bad, not too bad. Yeah, I would have done so many things differently for this, but it is what it is. This is the stage that it's at, so I actually feel like pretty confident that I could be going into the body at this point, which would be pretty cool. I should check the time. Oh my gosh, it's already 4 o'clock. I have to leave to go do the piano at 5 o'clock, so I do have to clean up in a little bit. I have a snack here, but I haven't eaten it the whole time because I've been so stressed out. I'm gonna lay some glazes down on the duck. Then when I come back tomorrow, I can put the opaques down. So I think that's the best thing I could do. The problem is I don't have any of the glaze colors really out and about. I put some on this palette yesterday, but they've actually mostly already dried. Our house is so dry. It's ridiculous. And this palette is all opaque colors. So I think what I'm gonna do for the next, I don't know, 20 minutes is switch out my palettes and grab some transparent colors and work with those. Actually, I do have, you know what? I just remembered. I actually put a few transparents on here, the red and the magenta. So I'm jumping the gun here. I do have the colors I need. So I just need to get the brushes that I need. And I'm thinking maybe this one here. All right. Oh, I lost my towel. Okay. So this is way different than that because again, I hadn't printed it and I see like there's a lot of magenta and purple. So I think what I want to do is like do some underglazes of that on his body. Let me wipe this part of the palette off so that I can use it with these transparent reds and purples. I forgot I had those. All right. This is like an alizarin, I think, and maybe like a quinacridone magenta. Maybe. I want to use, it's almost not magenta-y enough though. Do I have anything wet on this palette? Not really. These did not make it overnight. I think all my transparents are in the top drawer. And my cool, I can get in here. Oh, look at that. I can get in here after all. Let's see. Dioxazine purple. Classic cool transparent purple. Let's grab the nutcracker. The nutcracker sweet. You know, the other thing is you would almost need 4 jars. Really, what's going to happen is I'm going to have an opaque paint and a transparent paint jar, basically. That's what it's going to end up happening. So let me open this. I opened all of these yesterday. I tested every single one and opened them. Except for I don't remember if I did this one. Ha! No. This one needs me to scrape the crap out of the top. I have another one of these. I have more than one. Dioxazine purple. Ultramarine red. Yes. This color, I really dug this color, even though it looks toxic, because this paint is really old. And I believe I actually let it squirt out of the bottom. Yes, so that's what I'm gonna do. This Bellini paint is so old. Somebody donated their dad's art supplies to me after he passed, and the paint was so old that it's not only not in manufacture anymore, that I can't get the caps off like at all. I like this color a lot, but I don't know if I can. I need to almost cut these tubes open and like squirt them into a jar. I know I have a purple here that's actually functional, so just give me a second. I will find one. Because I opened all of them yesterday and made sure that at least one of, there we go. See, I made sure at least one of each kind was able to be used, so. All right, it's 4 o'clock. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give myself about 20-30 minutes, work on the glazes for him with some medium in my color, which will thin it out some and help it to dry faster. And I've got this really nice like reddish purple here, and he's got a bright like magenta colored body in the front. So I actually want to just get this down so that it's not lost, because I can lighten it up. It's really honestly better to start with your paint too dark than too light, because you can always mix white on top of it. So, but I want to get it thin because it's supposed to be glazy, and glazes are thin. A little bit of purple, a little bit of red, and just get that nice thin wash over his body. And have it pop forward. So I'm using like warm colors. which I forgot the dioxazine purple is a cool purple, so really that's not the right color for this underglaze anyways. And even though the side feathers are like black-ish colored, I still want to like come in with this color and add it to the brown so that I can stain it a little bit. Because it kind of carries through all the way around. And even like on this one up here, but that starts to get to be like, then I need to start using cool reds back there. But even in his body here, there's like some of this red underpainting. So I just want to add those colors in before the end of the night so that it can dry up and be waiting for me for tomorrow. So this is just like a real wishy-washy underpainting. It doesn't even matter if it gets on the white, because again, I can just put more white on top of that. So I'm not really worried about that too much. What I'm worried about is making sure that he has these bright colors in his body that I clearly missed for having not printed it off to begin with. So yeah, you can't see it, unfortunately. You can't see because my underpainting is so dark, which is unfortunate. I wish I had pulled more off, but it's dry and there's not much I can do about it. So what I'll have to do is I'll have to utilize the power of the opaque paint. But what I'm gonna do before I even do that, all right, is I will be using some what am I trying to say? Q-tips and lifting some of it out a little bit, essentially, so that it's just stained, and then I can work into it tomorrow with colors that actually work. But if it was just all this brown, I didn't actually stain that. I can see like here I use like green, and up here I use blue, but I didn't use any of this magenta color in his body, and it's definitely needed. So he's beautiful and colorful, and I totally missed it. All right, and it goes like way up into his cheek area, I guess you would call that. And on top of his head, like it's all throughout his face, really. And so like this is just gonna be really fast that I get this color down. And then it's also in his beak. Whoops, I picked up a little bit of the red there. Too much red. And like ideally I preserve the white in the middle of the bill, but if I don't, it's not the end of the world. I'm gonna go back in there. I want to get it on the top of his head, and then like anywhere else that it might be. And another color that I hadn't really gotten on here enough was like blue. There's a lot of green, which I see I did, which kind of annoys me, but what I need is more blue for sure. I should have started with my primary undervalue painting like I would do in a watercolor, and I think that's one technique that would like cross over well from the watercolor to the oil painting. So the watercolor expertise feels maybe lost on me in all of this, but it's not. I need to just remember that there are some similarities, and I should have stuck with like my primaries for my underpainting. Like start with the Van Dyke brown or the burnt sienna, whatever, and then work into these other colors. So that's on me. That's on me for not knowing that. But I already like even though it's kind of weird looking to see this red on his face, and actually really like adds to the depth and the color of him, and he starts popping off the canvas. So even though you can't really see that, I'd have to like mix in other colors, and I will do that tomorrow because I have to leave in a little bit to go play the piano. So now what I need is a transparent blue, and that is going to be right next to my, and it needs to be a warm, oh, that's why I was grabbing the wrong purple. I didn't grab a warm purple, I grabbed a cool one. Cobalt violet is my warm transparent. That would have been a better one to choose. That says it's transparent. I don't know if I believe that. That looks not transparent to me. but I'm gonna go with that. And then I'm gonna be working with a warm, transparent blue, which is gonna be apparently ultramarine, right? Radiant blue is another one. I don't know if I have that one. I might want to order that one too. I have a couple of paint tubes that I want to be ordering. French ultramarine blue. Apparently the greener they go, the cooler they go. And cools recede and warms advance. This is what the painting lesson lady said. So I'm taking her at her word. I'm going to use a little bit of this transparent blue. I'm going to stick it on the side where I feel safer. I could have put the transparency over there, I guess. I don't know. So I'm going to take a little bit of that, and I'm going to take a little bit of this purpley color that I made and mix the blue with it. That's so bright. It's so bright. Wow. I'm scared. I don't know if I like this. It's very inky. It makes me want like a green, which I have. I have like some green right here, which I'm gonna like take my finger and just drop it over there. Okay, that's what I need. I need a little bit of this green. There we go. I don't know if I love this, but I'm gonna try it anyways. It's gonna be super dark, so I'm gonna grab some of this medium and thin it out some. Yeah, I don't know. It's very hard to get used to these weird colors. That's not bad right there. So it's gonna look really dark to y'all, but it needs to happen because I unfortunately, it's supposed to be blue right here. I unfortunately did not really apply the colors in the way I wanted to the first time around. And this is supposed to come out like that, actually. Kind of like that. So it does darken it a lot, but tomorrow I will actually work on the color part. I just need to get some blue in here. Man, I really don't know what I was thinking when I was doing this. I wasn't thinking, but here's some of the blue that I wanted to get in there, and it's very heavy because my underpainting is so freaking dark. Oh my goodness, it's killing me. I'm killing myself here. I can't really say that on live stream, can I? I think that will get me demonetized, but I'm not monetized, so it doesn't matter. Ha 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 ha. See, you can see the edge of the blue coming there. It's right there. It's there. Well, you probably can't see it. It does look blue on my end. Not gonna lie. I'm sure it does not on your end. Whoops. And I just want a slight glaze on there. In fact, I'm wondering if I want to kind of do the same thing. Oh, there's supposed to be like some kind of like a blue underpainting here too. Grab some of this. I kind of like it with the purple in it more than I like it with the blue, so. Oops, I just painted over my other part of the painting. Why am I not surprised? Leave it to me, and I would do that for sure. All right. I guess the definitions and the feathers will all have to happen like tomorrow. Yeah, for sure. So there's some blue up here. It looks like I was already somehow getting opaque in this, which kind of annoys me. I wish I hadn't really touched the white paint, even though I was like excited to do it. I kind of don't love that. So cools proceed. So now that was my warm blue. So what's my cool blue then? My cool blue is like a green blue. Let's see what that looks like. Cool, transparent, Bellini blue. I feel like these cools don't recede. I feel like warm. I feel like this is warm. This lady's adamant that green blues are cool and purple blues are warm. My brain does not like that. I don't know why, it just doesn't. But anyways, we're gonna go with the color theory that we were given to do the assignment. And, oh wow. I can't get this cap back on. And just throw some blue glaze over the back of those feathers so they look bluer and not so green, because they're very green in spots, and I don't actually want that to be the case. So it may be kind of obscuring what you see, but it'll all come together. At least that's what my hope is. So I just want to get some of this green toned down. Oh my word, it's so bright. And then tomorrow I'll be able to tackle it like with fresh set of eyes. This is supposed to be really like receded as well. So let me do that. A little cool purple in there. And then those are, that is actually less blue, but put a little bit on there for good measure. And that actually stays pretty bright. What about these guys? These guys are really just needing opaque paint more than anything. So it is kind of dark and heavy-handed, but I think that it will work. I just want to brighten this up. Whoops, dripping. That was an accident. Just a little bit. It's probably be useful to grab one of these types of brushes and like, do that, maybe. Like that. So now it has like a pink, so there's pink on there that I'm lifting off. But tomorrow when I actually like apply the white to it and everything, it will make more sense. I feel like I'm doing the ducks in makeup though, for sure. Whoops, let's grab this and just like clean that up a little bit. So it's not like, whoa, that one is like really fat. These aren't like actual Q-tips, they're like crappy ones, and it shows. Oh, this is kind of where I'm at for the glaze stage for his body. Like the revamping of the glaze, which I didn't like. And now, although it's a little bit nerve-wracking to think about putting the opaques on his body, I think it will go better for having like this underpainting of the magenta and the green and the blue. I think it will make more sense, which it wasn't, so it's already making more sense to my brain, so I appreciate that. I'm gonna move some of this around just because it kind of got like touched with the white and it's got obscured, and I'll come in tomorrow, like I was saying, and actually clean that up as well. So Q-tips make good painting tools sometimes for some reason, but they do leave like fiber sometimes. I'm messing with it when I shouldn't be. That's so typical of me. Alright, alright, I'm gonna take a step back, or at least a lean back, and see where I'm at. Thank you so much, I appreciate it. Oh, you just finished work, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for commenting. Sorry, I don't always look down at my phone. So yeah, I think I'm gonna actually probably log off. Now that I feel confident in this underpainting and try not to mess it up too much. I'm doing right now. Just trying to get this color sort of distributed a little bit. I find that this thing like works really well. I want to keep calling it a paperclip, so that's why if I seem like I'm struggling to say the word, it's because I keep thinking paperclip. It's not a paperclip. Yeah, I'm really feeling a lot better about him, especially getting like the water in the background more settled and more purpley like it was supposed to be to begin with. It's not perfect. There's a few things that I'm kind of looking at that I'm like, well, you know, I kind of don't love that. You know, like this up here, still not really where I want it to be as far as the background color is concerned. It's not terrible, but it's not really what I want exactly. It's kind of annoying me still, but yeah. Other than that, I don't hate, so it's always a good thing. And even though oil paints like notoriously don't dry, I find that they do in this house. So I'm like scared to walk away from this until I feel good about it, because once I do, I don't know what I'll be coming back to. It could be a nightmare, essentially. So that's my concern with getting up too soon and not being like, you know, happy with where I'm at. I kind of want to fill this little spot in. It probably is like being a perfectionist, but it's bugging me. I may just need to work on it off camera a little bit to be able to, I don't know, not feel like pressured to be not looking at it. There's like, I love to look at my paintings while I'm working on them and step back from them. And the one thing that I feel a little bit like I don't do well in the live stream is that little gift to myself of taking a step back and, you know, just being willing to look at it kind of with a, you know, a fresh set of eyes, which happens when I step back from it. So let's see. I just want to make sure I like where these lines are going before I call it quits for the day, because it's almost time to do that for today, which kind of stinks actually. I'm finally starting to feel like I'm getting this a little bit, but I got stuff to do, unfortunately. But I do feel like I'm learning a lot, so that's cool. Even like how you get the paint off the brush is like unique to this medium. So, whoops, that's not as dark as I want it to be. There we go. All right. The water background got a lot heavier than I planned. I literally probably could have left it and not touched it. It wasn't bad actually the way it was. It was just that I hadn't painted the oils in so long that I was afraid to attack the duck. And so I stuck with the background. And like a little piece of me is like, man, it would have been better off if you hadn't done that. If you had just gone with digging right in to the duck himself, and I might not be like so stressed out about the background, which feels like maybe overworked and whatever. And I'm just gonna try to give myself some grace and mercy and say, hey, you know, it's ballsy enough for you to pick this up after kind of what happened and all that stuff. And so yeah, so that's where I'm at with that. I'm at trying to show myself some grace and mercy, which the world is in short supply of. Learning about water though while I do this and how it moves, which I never really thought much of, but it moves in a certain way, apparently, which I'd never really given much thought to. So does the paint, which I'd never given much thought to either. Not loving this area still. Kind of bugs me. It's like the one thing that's holding me back from leaving is this area is bugging me. OCD and art don't mix good most of the time. Well, what do I think? What do you think? That's really what matters to me more, is what do you think? I don't have the best ability to judge my work myself. Yeah, I think that might be about it for today, maybe. I don't know. I'd like to look at it though on there and see what's bugging me. What's bugging me is this right there. So maybe that should just come around like this. Oh, all right, hang on. We're not quitting quite yet because I'm onto something right here. That's been bugging me from the beginning is this. So I'm gonna address it. Grab some of this like mixture of a cool white and a warm white and try to make this behave a little bit. That's a little better. That is a little better. And if I'm looking over here, same deal, kind of. Man, water's tough. Water is tough. No, I don't like that. Okay, that was a mistake. Oh man. Let's try this. I have a feeling that if I actually go the opposite, which may not make any sense to you, but it makes sense to me. I was like kind of forking it that way. It needs to fork the other way, essentially. Like this kind of. I think this will make more sense. Not sure like how I executed that, but in my brain it makes sense. Doesn't mean it makes sense on the canvas though. Yes, see, that's what I meant right there. I have a skinny little one here that I had darks on, so I'm gonna grab that. And grab my cool background color here and get it on there. And go back to my cool white and kinda that might do it. I'm hoping. At this point, I'm kind of tired, not gonna lie. Kind of tired. I just don't want this to dry on me. I'm nervous about that. It got kind of tacky on me overnight, so I'm a little gun shy now. I can't say that either. Wow. So many stupid phrases that I can't say now because of, you know, stuff and people. All right. Could probably use like a few more highlights down here. I'm gonna give myself 3 more minutes. That is it. 3 more. And I'm just going to be looking at the screen there so that I can It's not bad. I keep saying I don't hate it. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. I feel like this needs to be a little darker in order to make it like recede some. So we're down to 2 minutes. 2 minutes. And that's just for like atmospheric perspective, I guess. Even on water, there's some of that, I guess. So let's maybe get some of that on there so that that will recede some. Get my cool purple mixed up. That's my cool blue. And that's my warm green. I don't want to use that. I need a cool green, which I don't think I have one open. Like a phthalo would probably work too, but I'm gonna try this. Just the green I have open. And hope that that kind of recedes a little bit. It's kind of bright. A little bit it does. Ooh. Okay. I think that's gonna do it for now. I've gotta wash my brushes and get myself out the door, so start my car because it's like 7 degrees outside and all that goodness. So unfortunately, I think that's going to be the end of today's live stream. But if you've been with me, I really appreciate you, and I am excited to finally start wrapping this painting up. Tomorrow, I'll get back on the live stream at some point, probably in the afternoon, and be applying opaque to this guy. So he will actually start to come forward, and it won't look like he's like even with the background, which now has a lot of opaque paint on it. So it's like pushing forward ahead of him. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. If you liked this, please like and subscribe. I'm about to turn 50, and my gift to myself is not only learning the new medium, but I'm trying to hit 500 subscribers, excuse me, by the end of February for my 50th birthday, which is on the 9th. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will catch you tomorrow in the next live stream.